Hi guys, this is Drew from the Cellcast. This is, of course, another one of our Star Trek Lower Decks TAS re-releases. These being the episodes for a Mathematically Perfect Redemption and Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus. This was originally on our review of the small one, so yeah, join us for the next one, and we'll talk at you later.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Robotech.
Come on now and set sail for the future. Fly in the sky, oh, the love of
Our first episode of the evening for Star Trek Lower Decks is A Mathematically Perfect Redemption. Directed by Jason Zirk and written by Ann Kim, in this episode, a wayward Starfleet ensign struggles to find a path to redemption. I love that reaction.
I hate this little robot.
Guest cast includes your favorite little robot, Catherine Donahue as Peanut Hamper,
Peanut Hamper needs to go into a trash compactor.
Paul Scheer as Andy Billups, Harry Chandler as Rauda, James C. as Kaltoris, Lauren Tom as Ariari Female 1, J.G. Hertzler as the Drukmani Captain, Fred Tatasciore, who normally also plays Shax, also plays the Drukmani landing party leader. And we get one last little cameo by Jeffrey Combs as Agimus,
Okay.
the evil robot that was in that one episode last season.
That's right.
And he shows back up in here.
Yeah.
You even see the little CBS logo robot next to him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Getting into the trivia for this one, this is the second episode I'm thinking of the Peanut Hamper arc, because I have no idea if this how often she's going to come up now. I thought we were done with her at the end of No Small Parts.
Yes.
And she came back and had a whole episode. It's like, there's going to be more of this. I know there is. The standard Lower Decks title sequence is not used in this episode. Instead, the series logo and opening credits are shown over shots of wreckage in the Kala system against a slower version of the main theme. This episode prominently features the return of the exocomp Ensign Peanut Hamper. It is revealed that after the events of No Small Parts, she remained stranded in the debris field of the Pack-led clump ship that attacked the USS Cerritos and proceeded to create a ship from the debris to leave. Interesting note, in that opening sequence, you can see Rutherford's original implant in the wreckage.
I saw that.
and,
I was like,
and it
ooh.
looks active.
It does look
like
active.
it could active. So interesting.
Like that couldn't play at the end of the play.
I'm not telling you a word.
Oh, I know.
I will say
I can pick up context very
I
well.
will say it's not in the actual major part of the story of the of the last episode of the season.
Gotcha.
But apparently there is an after credits scene that I originally missed. That's all I'm saying. This episode also marks the return of the Drukmani captain who originally appeared in Terminal Provocations, and additionally marks the return of Agimus, who is still imprisoned at the Daystrom Institute. He also echoes Peanut Hamper's earlier conclusions that her name is mathematically perfect. Peanut Hamper describes the Ariare as the poor man's Aurelians, referring to another avian race first introduced in the animated series episode Yesteryear and seen again in season 2 episode An Embarrassment of Duplers. Peanut Hamper's reference to Aurelians being the first canon use of their name in franchise history, 49 years after their first appearance.
Huh.
And that's all of the trivia I have for this episode. So how much do you hate Peanut Hamper?
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to kill her at the end of this.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Because one thing this episode does good, does really good, is up until the Drukmani steal the other ship.
Yeah.
I was on her side.
Yeah.
I thought, good, you learned your lesson. I would be if you continue this way, I would like you, Peanut Hamper. You could be a good character.
That was so
I don't
good.
really like half of what you did on this planet, and good night. This was a Prime Directive episode, and I'm barely going to talk about Prime Directive, but then you screwed the pooch. And I don't mean Rauda.
Oh. No.
I don't want to know how that worked.
Oh, no. Let's not go there. Oh my gosh. Oh.
But
that just made me cringe. Oh my gosh.
This is a weird episode in general.
I agree.
But I think it's done actually very well for what they're doing.
Yeah.
They give you a good story featuring this little exocomp, because that is the alien race.
Yeah.
That she technically is. And there's a lot of interesting things they do with it, especially like everything okay, so I did say this is a Prime Directive episode.
Yes.
Do you know what the Prime Directive is?
Yeah, you can't interfere with a civilization that is not discovered or developed warp 1.
Okay.
I think it's something
you were very close. Prime Directive is a little nuanced, but I'll get into it. The directive specifically states that a member of Starfleet, specifically, is not to interfere in pre-warp cultures. And there's a similar thing with the Federation, but it's the version we always hear is the Starfleet one.
Yeah.
Basically, up until they reach warp 1, the idea is you want to have as little cultural contamination in their culture as possible.
Yeah.
That becomes harder, of course, after they have warp capabilities.
Right.
Because now they're able to interact of their own free will with other warp capable cultures. They're essentially joining the galactic culture at that point while still trying to maintain their own.
Yeah.
And then you get political problems, which is the other half of that, where technically if they're not members of the Federation, you can't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes without saying, I think, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, you can't dictate what people will do just
right, but it's part of the rule on the books. It's like if they're not Federation, you can't really keep them from doing stuff even if you disagree with what they're doing.
Yeah.
So by all technical accounts, Peanut Hamper, even though she wasn't breaking the Prime Directive at all in this episode, she didn't know that for a long time.
Yeah, agreed.
And even then, kind of was still breaking the Prime Directive, the second clause that no one talks about.
Right.
So, yeah, and I usually hate Prime Directive because this is the Prime Directive is what gets you, like, Wesley Crusher is going to get killed because he accidentally tripped and stepped on a flower.
Yes.
In one episode, or a couple other problem episodes I have. It's essentially easy. It's writing fodder. It's an easy thing in Star Trek.
Yeah, I agree.
They can do to give you easy tension on a thing because they've used the Prime Directive so much. It's like you hear the words Prime Directive and you either are already sighing and wondering how long is this episode going to be. And I still give them props, the Lower Decks writers props that we went 2.5 seasons before they had mentioned they had an episode that actually dealt with the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
And it dealt with this little robot that they did a good job, I think, for like 15 minutes, making you feel sorry for her and are rooting for her redemption and even hiding what she was doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
So the Drukmani says, she brought us here. And it's like, no, she did. There's no way she did that. We saw her save. It says, we recorded it. And they show the recorder. It's like, Peanut Hamper, you are going to die. If not by their hands, I will find a way. I cared for you. They literally made us hate this character far more than we did at the end of No Small Parts.
I agree with you.
I think that was their intention, but continue.
The point where this little robot, what's her name again?
Peanut Hamper.
Peanut Hamper.
She is an
Weird.
exocomp.
Weird name for a character, Peanut Hamper. But
It's mathematically perfect according to her.
apparently. But it's this annoying little robot who decided she's gonna bail and go rogue on her crewmates, gets herself lost in space, and just she shows up on this planet, is telling how primitive they are, is breaking the Prime Directive
Mm-hmm.
the entire time, and just being the snot nose will be like, oh, I'm better than you, and the only reason she starts turning around is she starts falling in love with the prince.
Which
That's the
honestly,
only-
I've
that's
seen
the
I've
only
seen worse.
reason.
I've seen worse stories.
Yeah,
That would have still been acceptable, even though cliched.
yeah,
That this man turned her around. I could still have accepted.
yeah. I
this.
agree.
And so, even when I was first watching this, I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. And then I realized there's still 5 minutes of this story left.
Yeah.
Where on earth could they go? Because they're obviously wrapped up what I thought was all the plot lines. Oh, look, the Drukmani has stolen one of their ships.
Yeah,
Oh, Peanut Hamper's a liar?
yeah.
Peanut Hamper? Your name is not mathematically perfect.
Yeah, I do like it where be like Peanut Hamper, be like you do see that redemption quality in the character. And when like the village is being attacked and the prince is giving he's always saying we need to be better, we need to be better, we need to, because Peanut Hamper is going to show him that. And that some of those scenes still get just cringe beyond belief. I'm like, oh my gosh, he went there. But nuance. So when his father, I think his father is injured or something like that.
Yeah, and he's going to die. Says no one's ever survived a sky snake battle attack, and she goes, "Boop, anti-venom. You're going to be fine. I'll also give you a bunch of nutrients because you were super low on vitamins."
Yeah, that was good. That was a good scene.
Like,
But
okay.
the scene I'm referring to
Still
is
breaking
when
the Prime Directive.
huh?
Still
Yeah,
breaking
still
the Prime
breaking the Prime
in that
Directive. I
instance.
agree with you. The scene I'm referring to is when the prince takes like the larger ship, because it's like, oh yeah, we've known this stuff for years. We just forgot about it.
We didn't talk about it, but you're just like, how are you piloting the ship? How are the Drukmani piloting that ship?
Yeah,
that's a weird control surface.
Yeah, because even like someone on the Cerritos said, it'd be like, it's like, yeah, it's got far more powerful weapons than we've seen before. I'm like, and how do you guys know how to fly this thing? But I love it when the prince gets in there and he goes, and I'm going to save my people. I'm going to save my world from these pirates. And I enjoy that scene. And it's just like, oh, Peanut Hamper, you just shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And the prince still takes the directive
and then Peanut Hamper at the end still tries to say, oh, now I've learned my lesson. It's like, you just lost all
the brownie points you built up,
all the brownie points you just built up, all the goodwill you built up in the last couple minutes. You just burned through all of it. That is why you're going to get imprisoned in the Daystrom Institute next to Agimus.
And I loved it how she the entire time before she had her little turnaround where it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get sent to a penal colony or something like that.
Yeah,
because I went AWOL. I went AWOL on the Cerritos. But I think she teleported out and was adrift in space. That's right.
Yes.
I kept thinking
she went AWOL because they didn't know where they went. Yeah. No one bothered to try and get her, teleport her onto onto anything at all. So it's like, technically she went AWOL. Yeah, they did not know to scan for synthetic life, though I don't know how that could be different from biological, how those life readings change, but beside the point.
Oh, the point where the Cerritos does show up, they see they
and they say, we're not going to send her to a penal colony. We just saw how she saved the day and all that stuff. It's like, okay.
It's like, okay, that's cool. But then it's more like, oh, okay. Then you see what she did beforehand.
Yes.
It's like, oh, yeah, you can take these ships. They don't really use them. They're stupid backwater people.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you just screwed the pooch, kid.
Did you catch the people who were in the away team party that beamed down? So yeah, Captain Freeman, a couple other people we don't give a care about.
Right.
And Tindy.
Yeah, and Tindy.
You know why Tendi was there? Do you remember why Tendi would be there? In no small parts.
I know she's training to be an officer.
She is, but she was also the one that was supposed to be a Peanut Hamper's mentee, first voyage mentee.
Yeah,
She's the one who was meant to show her around the Cerritos.
That's right.
So she was continuing her job.
Yeah,
as Peanut Hamper's mentee, coming back to talk with her.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I like that. That's a cool little detail they didn't have to do.
No, yeah, I completely agree.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
I keep interrupting you, and I apologize.
This was a good episode. This is a good episode, and it was like it's like, oh, Peanut Hamper is like, why in the world are you here?
Mm-hmm.
Then she has her little redemption arc, and we get like this nice encounter between the pirates, the Cerritos, and the Arioris. And that was cool. And then you get the big revelations, like, oh yeah, Peanut Hamper sold them out.
Yeah, and I do like actually the design of the Arioris. I thought they were a well-designed alien race for this.
Yeah, agreed.
The other cool thing I want to bring up in this that I really appreciated is right after she teleports out into space from No Small Parts, and you see, Shax in the shuttlecraft taking Boimler over there and all that. You can hear parts of that episode playing, so you know what's going on, and you actually even get to hear Shax's last line from No Small Parts again. Hang in there, baby bear.
Yeah.
And before it blows up. And then of course Peanut Hamper has to crap all over this whole thing, and reminding us that Shax is dead, but he's not dead. He came back to life, and we still don't know how, and I think that's the point.
Yeah.
But anyway. Anywho. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
Next one's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Crisis Point 2, Paradoxus. Directed by Michael Mullen and written by Ben Rogers. In this episode, Boimler's holodeck movie sequel tries to live up to the original. Along with playing Shax again, Fred Tatasciore also plays the Kazinti Ensign. That's the Bobcat-looking guy that was on the bridge of the Cerritos.
Oh, okay.
That's a Kazinti.
Okay.
They're like the Caitians, like the Doctor is.
Yeah.
But they're different.
Okay.
Mary Holland plays Helena Gibson, the love interest that doesn't get to be a love interest. The Carol Shelby.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Carol Shelby. Carol Marcus. Character Marcus. Carol Shelby created the Mustang.
Yes.
Anyway, Seth Morris as the Illustrator. I think that's the guy with the tape, the map tattooed on his back to Kitty Hawk.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Star Trek 5.
Leonardo Nam as Australian street punk. Ben Rogers as both Nick Nack and Steve Stevens. I love Nick Nack. Carl Tart as Kayshawn. Alice Wetterlund as left, center, and right Melponar. The Melponar triplets. And those are their names, left, center, and right.
Wow.
You can just barely make that out when Boimler brings up his holodeck script.
Yeah.
When he's going to fast forward to the credits.
Yeah.
You can just barely make out character names, and the Melponars are named left, center, and right.
Oh my gosh.
And also, our special guest for this episode, George Takei as Captain Hikaru Sulu. Getting into the trivia for this, and bear with me, there is a lot of trivia for this.
I can imagine.
This episode did not have a standard title card that was traditionally shown in the opening of the first act. The in-universe opening sequence of the holodeck movie features its own title card that nearly matches the name of the real-world episode using the Roman numeral 2 instead of the number 2. As in Crisis Point, this episode is presented in the wider 2.39 by 1 aspect ratio during the holodeck movie sequences, aka the standard movie aspect ratio. But this aspect ratio is limited to the holodeck only. When characters exit to the real world, it switches to the series' normal 16 by 9 ratio. In fact, Mariner had to step over the black bar to exit the holodeck.
She did.
Also, as in Crisis Point, film grain effect is added to the holodeck sequences, and a Q mark can actually be seen in the upper right-hand corner of the frame at one point.
Wow.
The opening credits and the font used for the location names are drawn from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
The planet Tadasior 9 is named after Shax's voice actor, Fred Tadasior.
Okay.
During the holoprogram, the crew travel back to July 15th, 1982. In the real world, this was the day before Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan premiered in the UK. George Takei reprised his iconic role of Hikaru Sulu after last portraying the role in live action in the Star Trek Voyager episode Flashback in 1996. The holodeck program Crisis 2 Paradoxus references a number of previous Star Trek movies. You knew this was coming.
A little bit.
The Sovereign class USS Wayfarer arrives to save the USS Cerritos during its battle with a Valdor-type warbird, alluding to several elements of the battle in Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah.
Furthermore, the Kazinti Khan officer interrupts Captain Freeman's incomplete order for the crew to escape pods with, "Captain, incoming ship! It's the Wayfarer!" echoing the USS Defiance Khan after interrupting Worf's order for ramming speed in Star Trek First Contact with, "Sir, there's another starship coming in. It's the Enterprise."
And then you get the exact same shot of where the Wayfarers in front of
it's the exact same shot. It also resembles Boimler's declaration on the arrival of the Titan in the episode No Small Parts.
Oh, okay.
The Melponar triplets are a reference to the Duras sisters, Lursa and B'Etor, two reoccurring characters who were the secondary antagonists in Star Trek Generations.
Yes.
And like I said earlier, in Boimler's holoscript, the three centers were identified as left, center, and right.
Jeez.
Mariner's line about the movie having a time travel plot and if it will involve the assassination of John F. Kennedy is a direct reference to Gene Roddenberry's scrapped plot idea for the initial sequel to Star Trek the Motion Picture, in which the Klingons would use the Guardian of Forever to travel back in time to thwart the Kennedy assassination, leaving the crew of the Enterprise to set things right.
I remember that.
No, you don't. That didn't happen.
I remember hearing about it.
When Boimler describes part of the plot to Mariner about how the Romulans intend on using the chronogami to rewrite any part of history, Mariner asks if that means it makes a cinematic alternate universe that runs concurrent to their own, but with other people playing younger versions of themselves, referencing the 2009 Star Trek film and its setting in an alternate reality. The stopover at the Europa lab has many similarities to Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. The lab itself is similar to Regula 1, and it includes the Zabriskie turnabout drive, also known as the most important device in the universe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No idea.
Do you know the device in many movies, including Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, that has two tubes running parallel to each other with blinking red lights going in a circle?
Yes.
That. And it is in so many things.
It is.
Like and they did put it in here too. It's even in Airplane 2, which is the sequel to Airplane. And it has and that's where William Shatner is playing the guy on the space station because that airplane goes into space. And it's there, and Shatner asks what they've learned about everything, and the guy says, "We still don't know what this device does. It just has lights going in moving in a line. We have no idea. We'll just research it. We got to find out. Okay, what else have you figured out? Well, these lights in this other machine don't just keep blinking out of sequence. We'll make them blink in sequence." It's Airplane. It's the only funny scene in the movie because the rest of it is repeating Airplane 1.
Got it.
But anyway. Dr. Gibson and her estranged relationship with Dagger resembles the same of Carol Marcus and James T. Kirk, and the briefing video's production style resembles the Genesis device briefing video.
Yes.
Gibson's attire also resembled that of Dr. Marcus.
Yes.
The Wayfarer and the Cerritos crews following the Romulans back in time to prevent whatever damage they may do to the timeline is similar to the USS Enterprise E crew following the Borg back in Star Trek First Contact. The algae crisis plot of an aquatic species helping to avert a disaster is similar to the humpback whales helping to prevent an alien probe from destroying Earth in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Yes, another good one.
Another holodeck simulation of the founding of the Federation appears in the Enterprise episode These Are the Voyages, which served as not just the ending of Enterprise, but the ending of Star Trek for a while.
Hmm.
The exterior shot of Starfleet headquarters near the Golden Gate Bridge was originally created for Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, and has been reused in Next Generation episodes Conspiracy and Voyager's Non Sequitur. The Romulans' bomb design is the same as the Thalaron generator from Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay, I remember that.
The quest to find the meaning of life and the godlike entity of Kitty-Ha is similar to Cybok's quest to find Shakari and the godlike entity that inhabited it in Star Trek V: The Final Frontier.
Oh my god.
Or as I like to call it, Captain Kirk saves the universe from not God.
Oh yeah, I hope you're gonna bring this up, but if you don't, I'm bringing it up.
The Knick-Knack blowing up the wall of the brig to free Boimler and Mariner is similar to Montgomery Scott doing the same to free Kirk, Spock, and McCoy in Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. The third moon of Shatanari is similar to the name Shakari from Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Shakari was an allusion to Sean Connery, who was considered to be cast in the role of Cybok. Shatanari alludes to William Shatner, whom writer Ben Rogers had considered for this episode.
My gosh.
So yeah, Shatanari, Shatner. I wonder. The reveal of Kitty-Ha.
Oh my gosh.
Being the evolution of the Kitty Hawk Flyer. Parallels the reveal of V'ger being the evolution of the Voyager 6 probe in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Both Kitty-Ha and V'ger's names are also corruptions of their original names.
I was like, Kitty-Ha.
I told you that.
Kitty Hawk.
I told you that Friday. It's like, I hope I'm not spoiling anything.
Nah.
Surely he won't make this connection too soon.
I was like, Kitty Hawk.
Kitty-Ha.
Kitty Hawk. I was like, you're kidding me.
Boimler dreams of being on Kirk's ranch in Idaho with Hikaru Sulu and asks if he is in the Nexus. The ranch appeared to Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard when they were inside the Nexus in Star Trek Generations. Interesting note. That section was not presented in Letterbox.
Oh, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But I got so wrapped up when I watched it, I didn't catch that. Boimler dealing with the death of his now we're getting to the big stuff.
Exactly.
Boimler dealing with the death of his transporter clone is similar to where Picard had to deal with the loss of his brother and nephew in a house fire in Star Trek Generations.
That's right.
Ransom says that William Boimler was killed by a gas leak of neurocene gas, the same poison used by the counterinsurgency program in Deep Space Nine's episode Civil Defense.
Oh.
Ransom says his best friends are Honest, Westlake, and Matt. They are characters we've met before.
Oh, okay.
But Westlake is actually a reference to series composer whose last name is Westlake. I can't remember his first name. My apologies. Boimler says that he should have stayed a raisin farmer and married Leanne in this episode. William Boimler asking the Section 31 agent why a clandestine organization would use a special comm badge references Star Trek Discovery, which introduced the Section 31 comm badge in its second season, set at a time when Section 31 was openly the official intelligence branch of Starfleet before the organization went rogue. William Boimler secretly defects from Starfleet for Section 31. The first known transporter clone, Thomas Riker, also defected from Starfleet to join the Maquis in 2370. Which means, I want to point this out.
Oh my gosh.
When I brought that up when we were doing at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
I called it. And you know how hard it was to not say anything 4 weeks ago. 8 episodes ago, when we last had William Boimler on this show, because I had already seen this episode. And I was going, I can't say it. I alluded to it, but I can't say it.
You did.
That's actually the end of my trivia.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think of this episode?
Oh my gosh. Your trivia was even just much trippier than anything else. It was great.
There's so much. That is not even all of it. That's just all people have recorded.
Yeah. But yeah, all the references, the point where Boimler he's defeated because he believes that his teleporter clone has died, and he's trying to deal with it, and he wants to know the meaning of life, and like what is life of meaning, and the oh my gosh,
I so wanted the giant God Rock thing that was Kitty Ha to say 47. Do you know why?
No.
First off, in science fiction, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
Okay.
what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything? I've told you this many times.
42.
Right, 42. But here's the thing. In Star Trek, the most common number that comes up because it was a running gag for 3 series was 47. If you go back and watch stuff like I know you won't go back and watch the episodes because it's not that you won't, but you're not in a hurry to. Right. But you go back to like say Star Trek Generations, when Scotty is saying how many people he was able to transport off of the El Orion ship before it blew up. He says, I got 47 out of 150. And there's things like that all across all of Star Trek where all these shows, because they just kept using number 47 over and over again. So it's like, you could have made me laugh even more if the first thing the stupid robot said when he asked, what is the meaning of life? And he just said 47. I would have been like, you know what's going on. And they do know a lot of what's going on. And that just wasn't the joke they thought of. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Be like the point where Boimler like meets Kitty Ha. Oh my gosh. That was so terribly funny. And so he starts getting like Mariner's like, it's just generating words.
It's the holodeck literally created an inspirational quote generator.
Yeah. And I love how Mariner the entire time, it's like just giving comment like the entire time, and like movie references the whole bit. It's like, what are we going back in time? And like the stupid thing and it's great. And so when Boimler has had enough and he starts digging into Kitty Ha, like he starts digging. He's like, oh, that feels good. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
And when he gets down in there, he finds the Kitty
Hawk flyer and gets up and says, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, I don't care. I know what you just referenced, and that was amazing.
Oh my god.
I was like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't make any sense. Guess what? It makes only a little bit more sense for V'ger.
That is true, because that movie made no sense. To me, it didn't. But anyways,
it was better in a theater. I'll say that.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. But the main part I absolutely loved is when his clone shows back up and they love the back and they pop him.
I loved the part right before that where it says, at least you didn't end on a cliffhanger. Everybody hates when you do that.
Yeah.
Boom. I was like, we're getting a cliffhanger. And you go into, and it's a photon torpedo tube casing. Yes. It's like, oh no, what are you about to do? It's like, that's clever. That is super clever.
Yes.
And thus the second episode of the William Boimler arc starts. Not really. We still don't know anything about this character other than now he's working for Section 31.
Oh my gosh. So
the most evil organization in Starfleet.
I do have an idea for the artwork. I'm just more like, okay, maybe it's the donkey holding the little black badge.
I thought it'd be riding the Kitty Ha. That will confuse everybody.
Ooh, that would be kind of fun. They're like, what? You gotta watch the episode.
I can't explain it. You just do it.
Yonk.
That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, do you have any? I guess no. I should talk. You can tell I loved this episode.
Yes.
Because, dude, even the stuff that was not making active references to other half stuff like Tindy and Rutherford's entire arc, which I haven't even talked about yet.
No.
She gets to be captain for the first time, and apparently she's got a bit of a what do you call it? A inferiority complex where she doesn't think anyone will listen to her if she's captain.
Yeah.
Because Rutherford is not taking this thing seriously.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm with Rutherford on this. Yes, steal the punk's clothes. See if he's got a boom box.
Gosh.
Because that was the first thing I thought of when I saw the Australian Street Punks. When is this? 86? This guy is gonna go on to direct the Muppets. Because that's Kirk Thatcher, who does a lot of the Muppet stuff later on.
Yes.
Or producer of a lot of the Muppet stuff. But oh, at this point they need to bring a Muppet in there because that would be funny. Oh no, what they need to do on this show at some point? No good reason. Seth MacFarlane.
Oh no.
Don't have to go to the Orville because they'll never get Disney to play for that. But just have Seth MacFarlane come in as just a random character.
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane has actually been in Star Trek before.
Yeah.
He's in Nemesis for like a hot second.
Yeah.
Bring him back. That's all I'm saying. That would be funny.
Have him walk in with a white uniform and just walk off.
As so many Star Trek peak actors have been on the Orville, bring Seth MacFarlane over. Just have him walk on stage, preferably in something similar to his Orville costume, and say, I'm in the wrong I think I walked in the wrong transporter beam.
It's like
bye. Anyway, no, the whole
if you're listening, Paramount,
this is a great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. This is a great episode.
Yes, it is.
I was a little worried going into this because they actually announced the title of this like far earlier than all the others. Because I knew the title of this like by episode 2 of season 3 is when I saw it on the list and thought they're redoing this. They're not running out of ideas already. No, it's just that Crisis Point 1 was making fun of all the great moments in Star Trek film history. Now we're gonna make fun of all the bad ones.
Yes,
the weird things. It's like, good night. The only thing we're missing here is Data saying he can, in the event of emergency, he can be used as a flotation device. That's about all we're missing here. And a holodeck ship.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten a holodeck ship yet.
Oh gosh,
next time. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. It's fun. And of course I like seeing Tendy's growth recently.
Yeah, agreed.
It was fun getting to see her. And of course Rutherford's just having a good time. Having a good time. Okay, moving on. So yeah. Yep. Any other thoughts before we close this out?
No, I'm good. I'm
Next
solid.
week we get the final 2 episodes of season 3, which are, if I can get this up, Trusted Sources and The Stars at Night.
Interesting. I know you want to say a lot.
I want to say a lot. All I will say is these will be the last, so far, the last 2 episodes in the Alito arc. Join us next time for that, along with, of course, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Boy, this is going to be 2 weird mashups.
Yes, it is. It's
not that we haven't had that already, but join us next time for that. In the meantime, do you got anything else before we cut out?
No, I'm good.
All right. In the meantime, this is Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Doesn't make any sense.
Can we just throw her in the trash compactor again?
Maybe we can take her to the tanner.